sorry to disappoint you. I know some of you may have been expecting an incredible natural-born leader. Others might have been expecting a natural-born dictator, sort of a perfectly crafted monster. Yet, here before you now running for president is neither of these things. I am a mere ordinary person. However, I can assure you that if I were elected, I would do all that I could for the nation and serve and rule the nation without instigating fear. Fear is in fact one of the problems which I would address as president. History shows that nothing good ever comes from fear. As Roosevelt once said, the only thing we have to fear is fear itself. Therefore, as Commander-in-Chief of the military as well as Chief of State, it is not my job to instigate fear but to eliminate all the fear this country has. In past societies, the king or dictator has been the ultimate power. That is not how our society works. The highest power is not me but the Constitution. The Constitution is the supreme law of the land, a document that is above everyone in the nation, including me, so that even I have to follow it. One of the issues I feel strongest about is the energy crisis and the problems it causes. Inefficient material production, pollution, and because of pollution, disease, cancer, and ultimately death. Approximately 200,000 people develop lung cancer every year, and of these people, 79.5% of them, or 159,000, die. As president, I would call on Congress to pass more bills regarding excessive energy consumption. Regarding pollution, I would also call on them to pursue laws involving restrictions on cars that get less than 20 miles per gallon. These cars, I contend, should not be allowed on public roads. These ideas, I believe, would not only decline the people falling ill to smoggy air, but preserve the resources needed for energy in the future. I believe a good person is one who cares and puts others before themselves, and the best person is the one who puts others and those to come before themselves. Also, regarding new methods of energy, there have recently been various innovations in the field of energy that provide more environmentally friendly and efficient ways to produce it. These magnificent inventions include liquid metal batteries, generators that harness the power of the ocean, and massive wind turbines. All these innovations still have room for improvement, though. Wind turbines can harm birds, and ocean generators can damage ocean life. There is an interesting story behind the innovation of harnessing wave power. It was known as the forgotten cousin of wind and solar, because it was an idea that was thought of, but never really developed. Methods such as this have gone unstudied and undeveloped. Therefore, I contend that this nation needs to spend less money on starting more commercial power plants and more on developing new methods of energy and improving the ones we currently have. Therefore, I would call on Congress to encourage the establishment of committees and programs with this intent. However, do not let the idea enter your mind that I am not willing to compromise. As president, I would not abuse my veto power. If a bill makes it to Congress and is agreed upon by both the Senate and the House of Representatives, then it must be worth considering. I would make sure that people have the voice they deserve through the House of Representatives and the Senate. Some may be questioning the said propositions and reckoning that I am abusing the power of federalism, and though you may now not elect me, as I said before, I am not in the running for the glory, but in an effort to make this country a better place. If then I am elected and many still do not agree with me, there is an impeachment process. The people themselves, per district, elect the 435 representatives sent to the House and the 100 senators per state sent to the other, and they alone have the power to begin and continue the impeachment process should they feel I have infringed on certain boundaries. So even if I am elected, the people would still have a say in whether or not I remain in office. Regarding the powers that I would carry on as president, I can assure you that I would handle them responsibly. As I said, I would not abuse my veto power. However, it would not be discarded either. There have been instances in history that there have been unseen conditions in bills that have gotten by the president. I would not let that happen. As for presidential appointments, only the best cabinet members would be appointed by me. The only people who would achieve these positions through me would be the best. The people who put not themselves, but the issues they deal with at the heart of our country. The ones the Senate will approve the quickest. These conditions will be no different for the Supreme Court. Only the best and most knowledgeable should have the responsibility of judicial review, interpreting the laws, and hearing the highest cases. If I were ever to be impeached, whether they proclaim me guilty or not, I know they would make the right choice. Now, I didn't come all this way to give people a government lesson. Besides pollution and energy, another issue that has plagued our nation for a long time is the educational system. At the base of our nation is the next generation. Children are the future, the next generation of leaders, scientists, engineers, military, and many others. There have been politicians in the past who have put themselves before the education of children. Seeing as how federal law supersedes state and local government, this nation cannot afford to have a president like this. Therefore, I am not. Although many people grow up to be successful, this country is still 35th in the world in math and 27th in science. If this is to get better, then our country needs to learn to manage its education budget better. As stated in former President Obama's budget proposal for education in 2015, most of the money went towards the Pell Grant program, a federal program granting low-income students loans that don't have to be paid back. There are many pros but also cons to this program that needs to be set straight. If there should be a sort of academic probation program to see that students are using this money responsibly, and if they are not, it should be revoked. Another controversial federal program involving education is Common Core. Opponents of this program argue that their local schools should not have their academic goals decided for them at a federal level. However, while the program sets the academic goals for students, it does not dictate how these initiatives must be taught. Also, what I do not agree with about this program is that there is input from various universities, teachers, and school board members. However, there was very little input from the students themselves. The middle and high school students should have more input as to what they think their own goals should be, and suggest ways to teach them. If these suggestions are carried out, it is my belief that America's future would get a lot brighter. A highly controversial practice in the field of medicine is animal testing. While I am not one for the death of animals, I must contend that animal testing is essential to the field of medicine and that I can justify my opinion. Animal testing has been around since 500 BC, and many scientific discoveries would not have been found were it not for the use of this practice, especially in the time of the Renaissance. More recently, the discovery of insulin could not have been achieved were it not for multiple experiments performed on dogs who had their pancreases removed, saving thousands of human lives and many to come. Also, recently, there has been progress made in the study of how a person develops medical issues with age and how to solve them. Scientists have managed to pinpoint the molecular pathways involving health issues with age and discovered that extending a person's lifespan also seems to extend their health span, or the number of years they spend without said medical issues. If this research were to continue, it might lead to a longer human lifespan worldwide, and therefore more time to solve other issues. However, programs such as this must inevitably revert to animal testing at times. Therefore, I would voice my ideas to Congress regarding suggesting further grants and pursuit of fewer restrictions on animal testing and other practices necessary to programs such as these. As for compromises made on behalf of animal testing, I can voice a thing or two there as well. Animals themselves often benefit from animal testing. Millions of animals would have died from various diseases such as feline leukemia, hepatitis, and rabies were it not for vaccines tested on animal subjects. Also, there are many regulations already in place regarding the humaneness of animal experimentation. Such examples include the Animal Welfare Act of 1966, and many other laws requiring regular inspection of facilities and requiring that the animal subjects feel no pain and have adequate accommodations. These regulations, I feel, are important to the field of animal testing and should be enforced well. One of the most outrageous problems the U.S. along with the rest of the world faces is the endangered species list. If animal testing is taken responsibly and humanely, it might help get species off that list. Experiments involving cloning animals, for instance, should continue and be permitted with set conditions. Now, as I said at the beginning of this speech, I'm sorry to disappoint you. I am neither incredible or amazing, but really I am neither a monster or a tyrant in my opinion. If I were elected, I believe I would do this country good.